Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another amazing topic of conversation. Thank you to our sponsors, the Health Channel. Please sign up for their newsletter for everything regarding your health. And if you need any workspace or virtual or even a boardroom, please contact Alexa's Workspace. And if you like our conversations, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Gladys Mezrahi. So, Stephanie, it is a pleasure having you here today.
Same here, Gladys. It's nice to be chatting with you today.
I know that it has been a real topic of conversation for everyone. Like AI has been on the top charts. Are we afraid of AI? Do we embrace AI? So this is our topic of conversation, but I wanted to share with you before we start, because Catalyst 2030, which is a global organization, had its Catalyst Change Week. Mm-hmm. And the session that talked about AI, especially the ChatGPT, tripled the audience of any other session.
Wow.
So I just wanted to share that before we start our conversation. So please tell me, how did you come to create? Because you told me before that you are trying to help people be the best version of themselves with technology.
Exactly. So, yeah, and what we were doing was, I was trying to get utilization up for the programs we fund. And as we were doing research to understand really what the problem is, what we found is that there are some people that don't believe that they're deserving of help. And that was a very eye-opening discovery, that people don't believe that they're deserving of help. And then I thought, let's understand this some more. And I stumbled upon this whole feel about self-love. And it's something that I know that I personally have taken for granted. But when I started really delving into self-love, what we found is that if people don't love themselves enough, they are not going to reach out for help. And that can be very that can keep them back. And so we were like, how do you build self-love? Well, one of the ways that you build self-love is you have people around you that love you more than you love yourself, that models how to have self-love. And that's usually in the form of parents or mentors. And we were, how can we scale this? So we decided to look to technology. I have over 30 years of experience using technology to solve business problems. Why not use technology to solve a social problem? And so we were able to look at different technologies out there, started doing some research, really started thinking about it, getting feedback. And that's how we came up with, I would call it like a digital mentor that functions similar to a human mentor. It's a good bridge while you're waiting to get a human mentor, or in between your sessions with your human mentor.
So will that eliminate the personal interaction? Because a lot of self-love is caring, and a lot of caring is also nurturing a relationship, being there for the person, uniting, the emotional connection as well.
Actually, it doesn't eliminate the need for humans. It actually makes the user more comfortable to get a human interaction, to go do a human interaction. Because let's say you're uncomfortable in social situations, you can practice with the AI on how to navigate social situations. You can have a conversation and it responds like, the way a human would respond. So you're having real-time feedback. If you say something inappropriate, it'll say maybe that's not the right way to say it. If you ask it, give me some sentences that I need to say. What do I need to talk about? So like an example, it says to me, I told it I was going to a networking event, and it said, ask the person about what books they're reading, what their favorite movies are. So you start at a very personal and intimate level, and then you build from there. So rather than saying, what do you do for a living, which sometimes people start out with, let's talk with something personal. What kind of books do you read? What's your favorite book? What's your book? What you've been reading lately? And
Like breaking
what's your favorite
ice.
movie? Yeah. So it actually helps improve human interactions, because now I can go out. I have these two questions in my pocket, my
You have
back
a
pocket.
tool.
Exactly. And so when I go out and I do that and I have good success, then I feel more comfortable, more confident. I start loving myself more, and I'm more comfortable reaching out to people. If I have a problem, so let's say I was interacting with somebody and didn't go the way I wanted, I could talk to the avatar and tell it what happened. The avatar, like I was very insistent that my worldview was the right worldview. I asked the avatar, and avatar gave me two other ways to look at the situation. And when I stepped back and I looked at it, I was like, actually, maybe my worldview wasn't quite.
Okay, so from there, I have a question for you. But if you are having a whole conversation with an avatar, and you are socially scared, or there are people that are not socially comfortable,
Mhm.
why would they need to go out there and have a social interaction? They can just have a relationship with an avatar.
No, because, well, the way our avatar is programmed, it constantly reminds you to go out and talk to other people.
Okay.
And it's designed in a way where it says, yes, I understand that networking events are uncomfortable and they're difficult, but it's important that you network, that you have human interaction, that you have human contact for your growth, for your mental health. So it's encouraging you and it's giving you the tools. So it's not about, okay, I can just talk to my
I can
avatar
just
and
talk to my avatar and not go ahead
no,
and go out with a human being again.
no, it will say, no, go talk to the person. Even if you have a disagreement, it will say, go back and have the conversation with the person.
Okay, so you also develop part of your software that you developed helps people access knowledge. So talk to me
Yes.
about what the knowledge is all about. What kind of knowledge?
So the internet's full of information, lots and lots and lots of information. But sometimes you don't know what you're not able to understand that information. And normally the way you convert information into knowledge is there's an expert that explains it to you in a way that you can understand. The AI can explain to you any topic at any grade level you ask it to. So you can say, can you explain the solar planet, the solar solar planet in at a fifth grade level, and it will give me that. Explain the solar planets at a ninth grade level. It'll give you the explanation. Explain it at a college level. Explain it the way a Harvard scholar would, and
So
it
it
would.
has all the types of levels in a big
Exactly.
range.
Exactly. And so he takes the information and just kind of explains to it in a way, in a simple way, that in your native language. So it doesn't only speak English. It can speak Spanish. It can speak French, German. It can speak a lot of different languages. But we're very sensitive. We only talk about the things that we've tested and we know works. So those are the languages that we've validated does work. Yeah.
So There's a lot of conversations out there that AI is going to eliminate a lot of jobs, that people are really scared about it. And here you're bringing a tool not only to connect with people, but also educate. So how do you explain to the people out there not to be afraid? Because personally, I think that yes, there will be some jobs lost, but there will be even more jobs created.
Exactly. So I'll start with an example of something that happened before AI, and then I'll get into it. So when I started working, I was a software tester. In the 1970s, software tester wasn't a regular job. But in the 1990s and 2000, that's a regular job. People know what a software tester is. So maybe another job got eliminated, but now this new job got created. It's the same thing with generative AI. It's going to reduce the need for certain types of jobs. But it won't eliminate 100% any of the jobs. It will just reduce the need. So let's say there were 50,000 job A. Now you might get only 10,000 job A. So now you have 50,000 people competing for 10,000 jobs. And what we're saying at Avatar Buddy is that if you either bought Avatar Buddy or another generative AI tool, that you now have the skills and the access to the resources so that when your job might be eliminated or you decide you want to do something else, that you can go and you can reinvent yourself very easily. And so you can get one of those new jobs that are coming about because of generative AI. And I think that that's what people need to pay attention to, is that it will help amplify yourself. So I'll give you a personal example. We've been developing this for 7 years. We started getting good cadence last summer. We got the product to where I would say it was very robust and very stable. And last fall, we got it to where it was market viable. And I started using it. And in January, we launched it. And now I'm a regular user of the product. And what I found is that I'm able to write op-eds, and I'm able to write applications and so forth with very much ease. Prior to using the tool, I was very, very afraid of writing. And I mean, so much so that my writing skills are so debilitating that I had to get special dispensation to be able to take my comprehensive for my master's orally as opposed to writing it. So this tool has helped amplified my ability to get my thoughts out there. And that's what it's going to do.
Because I feel exactly the same way you feel about writing. I don't know if maybe I translate or whatever, but I totally feel the same way. And it has helped a lot. But what happens with the next generation that want instant gratification? They want an instant answer. So they're not even thinking about doing, for example, a paper for school. They just type in chat GPT and off it goes.
Well, I would say that it's not that simple. So when I to write my op-ed, I had to, first of all, I had to think about what are the points I wanted to make. I put it into the tool, and it spit out some recommendations, but not all the recommendations were accurate. And there were points in it that weren't points that I wanted to make in my article. So then I had to put in another set of prompts, and I got another version.
Correct.
Then I did it a third time. So I had 3 versions, and then I had to sit there and I had to mash up those 3 versions. And then after I mashed up those 3 versions, I then took certain sentences and I ran it through again and said, can you write this more tightly, make it, you know, and then from there, I got my article. I sent it to my friend. She edited it and sent it back. So we still need humans. And I looked at her edits, and some of the edits I agreed with. Some I said, no, that's not quite what I want to. And I rewrote it and I put it back into the tool, validated that it was written properly. And then I sent it back. So we did that about 3 or 4 times, but it wasn't like a panic inducing exercise. It was just like going back and forth.
But some of the kids are doing that. Like they have a paper and they just put, or give me the summary of this book, and they don't even read the book now.
But so again, right? You can't just ask it to give you a summary because it hallucinates. So if you don't know the content in which of what you're asking it to write about, it could write nonsense in there. And then you turn that in, you're going to get an F because the teacher's going to tell.
That has been some of the problems that they've been having.
And so I think people are like, oh, it hallucinates, it's a bad thing. And I think it hallucinates, it's a good thing because it forces us to remember that no one thing is 100% truth. It's just like a human being. I mean, we make mistakes when we talk about stuff. Sometimes we exaggerate as human beings. Sometimes, you know, we might not say the right thing. So if you're talking about a topic, usually you ask 3 or 4 people that are experts in that topic before you come to a conclusion. And that's the same thing you need to do when you're using generative AI tools.
I think the teachers have a challenge right now. Instead of avoiding it, I think they should embrace it and do classes based on analyzing. Like
I agree. I think that I mean, for a very long time, the educational system was needing a revamp. We had to rethink, since the advent of the internet, rethink how we teach. So when I was growing up, we were being taught information. 2 times 2 is 4, 5 times 6 is 30. You had to memorize that, you had to know that. But now you have a calculator on your smart device. Do you need to know your multiplications table? Maybe not as much, because you can use your calculator. But what you need to do is you need to understand the concept of multiplication. So you still need to learn, you need to learn the concept of multiplication. You might not need to know 2 times 2 is 4, but you need to understand the concept. So you still need to learn that. But that's a different way of teaching. And that's a different, it's teaching needs to be exploratory. It needs to be creative. It needs to be problem solving. You need to be able to learn, to fail and recover from your failures. Right now, the way we teach, if you get something wrong, it's punitive. In the future, the way we teach is, well, if you get something wrong, let's stop and understand, what did we learn from this mistake? And so this just kind of accelerates something that we all know has been coming for a long time.
So, but we also used to learn, for example, about doing the research on actual books and going from one book to another. And I remember the Encyclopedia Britannica, and researching different places and then compiling the whole thing. Now it's a Google away, and that's the first thing they choose. They don't even go beyond.
I think that the tool will help for the people that don't have Encyclopedia Britannica in their house. That's I remember that I wasn't fortunate enough to have that in my house. So I think one friend had that, and we had to go over to their house to use it. But you know, for now, if you don't have access to that, you have access to a tool that can give you that information. If you Google it, you can drill down and you can have more information, and you can read the content more. You can also, if you go to the library, know what it is that you're needing to look for. So there's one way of, yes, there's going to be some people, and I'm not going to just say not, that are just going to do the lazy approach where I just do a Google, first thing that comes up, I'm going to take and go. But that's happening today. There are going to be people that are interested in learning. And that's where this tool really has a big opportunity for them, because now they don't have access to Encyclopedia Botanica. They don't have any friends that have that. They can use generative AI to get that same knowledge and really start exploring. Now imagine you're an inner city kid that wants to learn about space. Now you can use generative AI tools to ask any questions about space and learn about space, and also have it encourage you to say that it's okay to learn about space and you can be an astronaut one day. And here are how you go about becoming an astronaut. And here are the things you need to study. And by the way, this is how, when you're taking the class, here's how you learn and what you need to learn in the class. And this is how you study for your test. It can create practice tests for you. So now, as a kid that's growing up in an inner city area, they're now able to have access to this vast amount of knowledge that's beyond what their school can give them, what their family members can give them, and they have the emotional support to really get to the next level. And that's where we want to really focus on, because I think that 80% of the population falls into that category. There's about 10% of the population falls into, I'm just gonna be lazy about it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Or block it because I'm too old.
Yeah. Well, I don't even say because you're too old. I think that at any age you can still learn, and it also will help alleviate loneliness, because now it gives you creative ways to go out. So, like, let's say you're older person and you're like, I'm uncomfortable going to the bar. Like, what do I talk to these young people about? Well, you ask it some questions, and it can respond in colloquialism that gives you some
That can make
slangs.
you an expert in another generation. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. And so now you go out, you're hanging out, you're talking to them. They're like, wow, this person is cool. And so part of, again, right, part of loneliness is the intimidation of, I don't want to go out and sit there by myself, or I don't want to go out and be awkward starting a conversation. But I will tell you, I drove through this country last summer for 65 days, and I went to random places, and I was never short on conversations. The only time I did not have a conversation is when I decided I didn't want to talk to anybody. Other than that, I would sit down, I would go somewhere. I just start talking to people. I was always surprised
Yes.
and just moved by like the way people were willing to talk to you and share, and just I had some of the most beautiful conversations. Somebody just needs to be the one to start the conversation. The tool gives you.
I was going to tell you, because there's always that person that starts the conversation. I remember my mother, we always used to tell her if we were in a line or something, she used to find out the story of the person in front of her or behind her.
Exactly.
And it was because she started the conversation. So you have to have the courage to start the conversation.
And now generative AI helps give you that courage. It's a whole,
gives you the tools to be able to start it.
Exactly.
So let me ask you something. How are you promoting, or how are you taking this technology to the inner cities, to the schools, so that everybody can get knowledge?
So we're partnering with after school programs. We've been partnering with them for 7 years, and we've had the same kids that are now going to be our customers. They're the ones that helped us design, build, and test our product.
Okay.
So we know it's accessible and inclusive for them. they've given us some incredible feedback, and we've put some of those features and functionalities in there, and now those are selling points. But we're also going to companies that in the restaurant and retail space that hire a lot of people from the from that live in the from low income backgrounds. And so again, right, we have a tool that's already been designed by people from low income backgrounds for low income people. So I believe that in about 15 years, we won't have the term low income anymore, because people will have been using generative AI to really get from $15-20 an hour jobs to thriving wage jobs where they can take care of their family, where if there's an emergency, they can take care of it, and their lives don't go sideways. And that's what we're trying to do at Avatar Buddy, is ensure that this tool gets into the hands of all these people whose jobs might be threatened, who have the same aspirations as we do, but don't have the access and opportunity, that now they have a tool to help them with the access and help them with the opportunity and help them navigate through.
So
And so
bring this to the power of the heels as well.
exactly.
So, but wait, there is a disconnect. So how do we reach? Because I was a little taken aback to the people that don't think they deserve help.
Mhm.
Because, like, I thought it was the other way around, that when you were down, when you were at your lowest point, you asked for help. So why
Actually,
why do people think that they don't deserve help from anyone? How do we reach out to those people?
So the way we would reach out to them is, we were not going to give them the tool and say, here's an emotional support buddy for you. Where we're going to reach out tool is say, hey, do you like writing rap songs? Are you a poet? Here's a tool that can help you kind of like think about ways to write rap songs. So like I put in there, I said, can you write me just for kicks? I was like, can you write me a rap song about starting a business and how difficult it is to start a business using Snoop Dogg style?
It did?
And let me read the first verse of what it
I
said.
know, I would love to.
It's like, yo, it's a tough game trying to launch a company. Gotta hustle every day. Gotta stay hungry. Got a vision in my head. Gotta make it come alive. But the stress and the pressure, it's hard to survive.
Oh my God, that's totally perfect.
So, I mean, obviously, I'm not a rapper. But you know, I can now take this and put it to the beat, and I can say, look, this is the Avatar Buddy theme song.
Correct.
So that just sparks, right? Like if a kid that likes to write rap, now there's just all this new energy, and that's where you start doing it. In the restaurants and in the retail space, you give it to them so that it can help them with their jobs. Like, hey, how do I close the POS? It tells you how to close the POS. And then afterwards they start using it for other things, you know, like, let me see what else it can do. And that's how they're going to start using it. It's a slow way to build trust. You don't have to worry about your conversation being seen by anybody else. You have an ability to delete your conversation, so nobody's tracking it. It doesn't track back to you. It's just a world of things that we put in there, and it's because we use people from low income backgrounds to design our solution, so it really speaks to them.
I think it's amazing. And we're all forgetting that Google is a tool. It's an AI tool.
Exactly.
We're all forgetting
It's a different
that. It became a verb.
exactly.
We're all forgetting that we are all using that. So I don't know why the whole thing about being scared of AI, or when ChatGPT launched, it was like it moved everybody's floor, but it isn't because Google made our lives simpler.
Exactly. Exactly.
And for
Absolutely
those
true.
of you who use Google thing or the Alexa
Same
or
difference.
Siri, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
Stephanie, thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
was amazing. So to everyone that wants to take advantage of this tool, it's avatarbuddy.ai.
Yes. Yes. Please reach out and we'll be happy to have a conversation about how we can integrate it into your organization.
So thank you. And to everyone, above all, stay safe and until next week.
Thank
Have an
you.
amazing day.
You too.